Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk with you guys about coping. My wife, I asked her, I said, I want to do a video, but I don't know what I want to do it on. And she said, you know what, you should do a video on how to cope in uncertain times, especially like what we've got going on right now with the United States presidential elections. So I thought, man, she's so smart. No wonder I married her. No. I married her for more than that, but she's definitely a smarty pants. So anyways, I wanted to talk with you guys today and share some of the things that I do to cope and things that I've used in the past and continue to use, obviously, to cope with uncertain times when I'm feeling stressed, anxious, etc. So the first thing that I do, and I learned this many years ago with an experience I had, and it's to allow myself to fully feel the emotion that is present. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't allow myself to get lost in the emotion. What I allow myself to do is I pay attention and I bring my awareness to what the emotion is actually feeling like in my body. So the sensations that I'm feeling in my body as part of the emotion. So if I'm angry, if I'm fearful, if I'm frustrated, do I feel my chest constricting? Do I feel my throat constricting? Do I feel my heart rate faster? What does it actually feel like to have the sensations of the emotion present? And as I'm doing that, as I'm paying attention, as I'm allowing myself to be just fully present with the emotion, I pay attention to what thoughts are running through my mind that are causing the emotion to arise. Because the emotion is not just arising, it's arising as a result of a thought that I'm thinking. So I'm paying attention to the thought that is present with the emotion that I'm feeling fully in my body. Now, I do my best to allow myself, and this is a practice, to not be judgmental when I'm feeling negative emotion. We're always told, stay positive, be positive, etc. And I am also a proponent of that. However, if we're always trying to stuff the dirt underneath the carpet, we're never really going to clean it out of the house. And so I do my best to stay as present and allow myself to fully embrace the emotion, feeling it 100%. And I've noticed that when I am able to do that, what actually happens is that the emotion will lift. It's almost like it was telling me something, it was communicating to me. And by bringing my awareness into that present moment with the emotion and the thought that was causing the emotion, it lifted. The second thing I do is I ask myself if the story that I'm telling myself is serving me or not. Or is it just a creation of my own mind? Now this one took me some time to develop and to learn, but it allowed me to recognize that am I allowing the external reality, the external influences to dictate the story that I am perceiving in my reality? It also, for me, as a student of the law of attraction, it allowed me to become a better deliberate creator. It allowed me to utilize the law of attraction in a more proficient way. Because as I started to ask myself, is this story that I'm telling myself right now in my own mind, is it serving me and is it going to lead to the outcome that I want? And I began to recognize, similarly to the first one, that as I began to ask myself if the story that I'm running through in my own mind, if this is good or bad, or she likes me, she doesn't like me when I was single, my wife is mad at me, if my coworkers were mad at me, if my, yada, yada, yada. Was it serving me, and was it actually true? So I began to look objectively at the situation and say, okay, here are the facts. This is the story I'm telling myself. Are these facts? And is the story aligning, or is it just a story that I'm making up in my own mind? And as a result, if it was a story that I was making up in my own mind, I began to start trying to tell myself a different story. So really becoming the deliberate creator of my life. And I noticed how, as I became aware of the story I was telling myself and decided that it wasn't for my benefit, that I began to cope with situations much easier. Because I went, oh, this is just a story that I'm telling myself. This is not actually the real occurrence that's happening. I don't know what they're thinking, and I don't know what they're thinking. But I know that this is the situation, and this is the story I'm telling myself. And so now I'm going to begin to tell myself a new story. And so, similarly, the first one, those experiences, that weight, that anxiety, that fear, lifted up. And I could see the experience more clearly, and I could have more fun in the experience. The third thing that I do, and sometimes this is often my first choice, is I meditate. Now, the reason I meditate, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons when I'm feeling anxious or fearful or disconnected is because it allows me to disconnect from the external reality, the sounds, the sights, the smells, the sensations, and it allows me to go inward. And it allows me personally to reconnect with my inner being, my soul, my intuition. And so when I'm in that place of the releasing of thought, and I'm in that place of complete union with Source, with my inner being, with God, the anxieties and the fears of what could be disappear, and the reality of what is in this present moment shows up. And so over time, as I've practiced that, instead of trying to use my meditation as a self-psychology session, a therapy session, it's become more of a practice of just letting go and stilling myself to be present fully in the moment that I'm in. And similarly to the last video I talked about with the 4 tips on meditation, that helped alleviate my concerns, my worries, my suffering. By being in the present moment, right, I was aware, oh, this is all that is. And so once again, in order to help me cope, those fears and anxieties elevated, lifted up. And I was just stuck with the present moment, exploring it fully, appreciating it for what it was. Now the fourth thing that I do, and I do this at least 5 times a week, and because it's my career, is I exercise. So beyond the physical benefits, there's so many physical benefits to exercise, which we won't even try to get into here. But for the purpose of coping with stressors and coping with uncertain times, what tends to happen is our bodies, when we're feeling stress, we're whether you believe like myself that we are manifestations of the divine, or if you believe in complete evolution from the Big Bang and all that. This works either way, because no matter what, in the last 10,000 years of being human beings, we've evolved and we've learned. And our nervous systems, right, in response to specific situations, we have a response being the fight, flight, or freeze response. And if you notice, those are 3 physiological responses. They're physical. It's not think your way out, analyze it, and then run. It's fight, flight, or freeze. And so, why is exercise so helpful when we're needing to cope with uncertain situations? Because we're experiencing a stress response as a result of the uncertainty, the thoughts that are the story that we're telling ourselves in our own mind. When we exercise, our bodies are biologically designed to get moving in times of stress. So, when we exercise, meaning when we get our heart rates elevated, when we're pretty much communicating to our bodies, I'm running, I'm fleeing, I'm flighting, I'm fighting, or I'm freezing, right? Freeze, you're still kind of stuck there. But in one of those 3 situations, we're doing something physiological. And so when we elevate our heart rate, after we've exercised, right, the stress levels begin to subside because the nervous system begins to calm down as a result of that. So all the all the hormones that are going on in our body, the adrenaline, yada, 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 the neurochemicals, all those things, they begin to go through that like kind of reset, calming situation because our bodies have communicated, oh, we did what we needed to do biologically. I needed to fight, fly, or freeze. I did one of those things. Hopefully fight or flight and just go for a run or do some burpees or do some squats, something to get your heart rate really elevated really fast for, a few minutes. And that will be enough so that that stress response can start to calm down. In addition, when we exercise, we're breathing, right? So we talk about pranayamas in Eastern religion, and in Buddhist philosophy. Pranayamas, which are breathing techniques. So we're using the breath to help the nervous system relax. So through exercise, our breathing automatically starts to change. Right? And so that breath calms the nervous system, just like in meditation. The breath and the mind are intimately connected. We talked about that in our last video. Same thing with exercise. We're exercising, we're getting the physiological benefits of exercise, but we're also getting the mental benefits, the stress relief benefits of exercise. So that's a big one for me, and I use that definitely every single time I'm feeling stressed. If nothing else, at least I do 15, 20 squats or some burpees or something. I can't do burpees because my toe hurts lately, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so something to get my heart rate elevated, and then I can really feel that calm setting in my nervous system, and then I can begin to utilize some of those other practices, looking at the situation differently, yada, yada, yada. You get the picture. The fifth thing that I do is I talk with my wife, I talk with my parents, I talk with my brothers, my friends, people that I trust, and what I do in that is I try to lean into them, It's nice to have a social support system. And so I personally have a great social support system. So when I'm pretty bad at this, to be honest with you. I try to figure it out all on my own. And I have a difficult time asking for help. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to become better at that. And what I've learned really is that I ask for their opinions or for their, how they see the situation. And I tell them what's going on. And then I have to humble myself as much as I can and allow their guidance or their opinions to really seep in. And obviously, I trust the people that I talk to. I'm not just going to go talk to my friend who, if I have a relationship problem, which I never do, but if I were to have a relationship problem, if this is your case, and you go talk to a friend who also has horrible relationship problems and you're taking their advice, maybe we should pay attention to who we're listening to. So that's why I say people that you trust and people that you honor. And when they're saying, stuff, humbling ourselves so that we can really look at ourselves objectively and not get so self-righteous. Again, definitely a thing that I have to work on, but it does help me to cope with these uncertain times when I know that maybe they're going through something similar or they have a perspective that I don't that can really benefit me. Number 6, we only have one more left after this, is I read books and I watch videos that remind me of my spiritual essence. So I have just a crap ton of books, but if I'm kind of lazy, I'll watch Abraham Hicks videos or listen to people talk about the Buddha, or I have specific videos like The Secret, Abraham Hicks teachings, the Buddha documentary, things, little 5-minute clips of gratitude, things like that I've accumulated over the years that just help me, remind me of what is important, and return me to my spiritual essence. So reminding me of my connection with Source and reminding me that this experience is only temporary, right? And that in each moment I have the ability to direct it one way or another based upon the way I'm seeing the world, right? The world doesn't exist objectively without mind entering into it, really, right? It doesn't exist. It only exists for me a specific way. How you're perceiving the world will exist for you differently. So if I'm perceiving the world and suffering in it, I like reading books and having problems with dealing with the uncertainty and watching some videos that remind me of my spiritual essence, of who I am, right, in my core, rather than just Zach, this body and this mind, but who I am eternally, my essence, my soul, my inner being. And by doing that, it really allows me to see the situation a bit more objectively and go, oh, is this really the big deal that I'm making it? What is the story that I'm telling myself, going back to that first one? Oh, Caesar's running. He's going to go chase something. But yeah, so reading things that remind me and resonate with my heart, you know, reading things that resonate with my core, with my inner being. Those are the things that really that allow me to help with dealing with uncertain situations. So last but not least, the last thing I practice, and again, keyword being practice, is faith and trust. And I do that, my personal way of going about that is I have inner conversations with Archangel Michael, Jesus, Buddha, the Source. And this group of spiritual forces that I feel are part of my spiritual team. And if you feel the same, that's fantastic, wonderful. I hope you do the same. But this one really ties in, this practice of faith really ties in with meditation for me in the communicating with my spiritual team, if you will. Because meditation has allowed me to go inward and more inward and more inward. And so that I could develop the intuition to understand if I was actually receiving guidance when I was asking certain questions, or just asking for a little bit of strength, or if I was making up the story in my own mind. So I was able to learn to discern what was the guidance that I was being given from whatever spiritual force we can call it, my inner being, Source, God, Jesus, Buddha, whoever. Or if it was a story I was making up based upon my ego, based upon my fears, right? Based upon my perception of the external reality. This we can also see a lot in our Christian culture, but oftentimes people lean a bit too heavily on this. So, you hear people praying all the time and asking and asking and asking and asking and asking. And I want to give you just a little secret. So luckily you made it this far. Here's the secret. The angels and Jesus and all the spiritual forces actually want you to do this on your own. They're not here to do it for you. They want to be a guide, not a dog walker. And even if they were a dog walker, the dog still has to walk. But they want to kind of clear the path and say, all right, path is a bit more clear, now keep walking, right? They want to give us an umbrella. They don't want to build the roof of the house for us. That's our job. They want to give us the ability, the freedom to make the choices for our own experience, rather than doing the work for us. And so that's where we can utilize, can I have a little guidance here? How about a little strength, maybe a little push? Absolutely. You think your spiritual team doesn't want to give you a push and help you out? Hell yeah, they do. Do they want to do it for you? No. They want you to be the self-sufficient person that you came to be when you came into this, when you chose to manifest into this physical life with the people around you. You wanted to be self-sufficient. And so our angels, our spirit guides, our, those spiritual forces around us, they want us to do that as well. And they still have that knowing. So it's kind of just really a reminder that we gotta do the work. We can ask for help and we'll get some help, but the teacher will never do the work for the student. It will always teach the student and allow the student to learn on their own. So those are the things that I do to cope with uncertain times, when I'm feeling stressed, when I'm feeling anxious, especially in this time of the 2020 election. I'm not feeling so much stress because I know everything will work out, but maybe you are. And if you are, I completely understand it. And maybe some of these 7 things, a lot of things I gave you that I do, I just wanted to give you guys stuff that I incorporate, on a weekly basis sometimes. Well, oftentimes, a few of these I do on a weekly basis. But I want to mention that the most important for me has always been meditation, because the meditation truly has allowed me to cultivate that present moment awareness, and it's allowed me to cultivate my intuition more deeply, and the ability to discern, that spiritual voice from that egoic voice. And I can't stress enough, and that's why I did the video last time. Like, meditation is the essence to all of our spiritual progress, really. When we can go inward and cultivate the intuition, right? I can go through all those stages of the 7 that we just talked about. It allowed me, through meditation, to be aware if I was telling myself a specific story. It also, right, that's number 2. Number 1, it allowed me the freedom, right, to know that I can go inward and experience the emotion fully without it overtaking me. And on top of that, learning the association between my thoughts and the emotions that were arising. If I was thinking a specific thought, how that emotion showed up. It also let me know if it was time to meditate. Meditating helped me realize when I needed to meditate. Or when I needed to exercise. It afforded me the opportunity to know what I should be doing in the moment, because it brought me into the moment. I became sensitive as to what my body's needs were, my mind's needs, and all of it showed up. It also helped me with, what was number 5? What was the other thing that I do? Reading. It allowed me to know when it was time to read. That was number 6. Exercise, meditate. What was number 5? 3 was meditate. 7 was talk to my... I don't know what number 5 was. Maybe that one's not as important. But, the meditation, I'm always going to keep stressing meditation to you guys, because hopefully you begin to practice if you're not already. And obviously, hopefully you can incorporate some of these into your own life if you're not already doing it. I know that a lot of people have a hard time meditating, so if you're one of those people, just exercise, Exercise, and then once the nervous system is calm, sit down for 5 or 10 minutes and begin your practice of meditation. And then all those other things are going to start to arise. You'll start to have the ability to understand when you can hear a voice. You'll learn to ask for help. You'll talk with your family. Of course, I forgot that. You'll learn when you need to talk with someone, communicate with someone, and get these things off your chest. You'll learn how to accept the emotion for what it is in the present moment, right? And you'll understand if you're telling yourself a story that benefits you or doesn't benefit you. Does it behoove you or does it not behoove you? I like that word. So that's it. This is a long video. Thanks for making it through. I appreciate you guys always watching. If you liked it, subscribe for more. I'm going to be posting every Saturday now on all different topics, including, but mostly primarily in regards to your spiritual evolution and your spiritual awakening. Like it for me, comment, do it all. I appreciate you guys, as always. Thank you for watching. If I missed anything, or if you do anything that maybe you thought would be beneficial for some people, I would love to hear it. I could always use some more coping mechanisms when I'm feeling stressed or anxious. But I love you guys. I will talk to you next time. Thank you.